Hey, what's going on everyone? This is VT2 here with my second annual Top 15 roller coaster ranking video. Last year, I had only been on 41 individual roller coasters, but that number has more than doubled this year. As a result, my rankings have been drastically altered. Anyways, without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. Starting off on this list is Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Great America. Now, this is the only shuttle coaster on this list, meaning that it doesn't go in a full circuit. Like other Intamin impulses, Flash launches its riders forward and back several times, sending the train higher up each of the two spikes further into the cycle. The launches have a strong kick to them, and that helps place it high amongst the coasters at Six Flags Great America for me. Next up, returning from last year's video, we have the first of many Cedar Point coasters, Raptor. America's Rock and Roller Coasts inverted coaster really adds to the midway, with its bold green paint scheme and picturesque elements. On ride, Raptor provides the usual whippy experience that a B&M invert should. Just a warning, the entry into the mid-course and some of the inversions can cause some headbanging, so I recommend keeping your head forward at all times. Swooping in at unlucky number 13, we have the original B&M invert Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. This fast-paced, high-intensity coaster paved the way for dozens more installations around the world just like it. Batman the Ride and its clones feature many staple features that are commonly found in all B&M inverts, namely forceful and whippy inversions, which help provide a very enjoyable experience. When I rode this back in June, it was my first time on a B&M invert in 8 months, and it felt so refreshing to get back on an installation on one of these amazing models. We're now ending off the triple whammy of inverted coasters by heading back to Cedar Point to talk about Gatekeeper. North America's tallest B&M wing coaster offers a graceful yet well-paced ride experience. The inversions offer some good forces that may or may not make you gray out, and the two near misses with the keyholes over the park's entrance will never not blow my mind. Having re-ridden it this past summer, it still holds up as one of my favorite coasters at Cedar Point, though it has been bumped out of my top 5 there. More on that later though. We will now be briefly returning to discussing inverted coasters with my favorite one out of them all, Le Vampire at Laurent. Laurent's mirrored clone of Batman the Ride succeeded at blowing my mind when I rode it in October of 2024. A couple friends and I got back row on it, and it was also dark outside. The fact that we could barely see what was going on as we were tossed through the ride's 5 inversions made the experience all the more incredible. I'm by no means in any rush to get back to Laurent, but when I do, I look forward to getting on by far their best coaster. Phew! Well, we got through spots 15 through 11, now it's time to enter the top 10, starting with the first of 2 new for 2025 coasters, Siren's Curse at Cedar Point. First, I gotta say, it was so cool riding Cedar Point's newest coaster within the first almost 2 months of operation. Anyways, the climb up the lift hill is really cool. The on-ride audio combined with the view of Millennium Force, Rougarou, and Top Thrill 2 all around you is so hauntingly beautiful that it's not even funny. Also, I honestly think that Siren's Curse executes the whole holding you over a 90-degree drop gimmick better than any of the 3 dive coasters I have been on so far. Siren's Curse's layout doesn't really focus on one particular aspect of a roller coaster. It sort of meshes everything together. Airtime, speed, laterals, positives, negatives, you name it, checks off every box. Cedar Point and Vekoma made an awesome ride that I highly recommend riding next season if you didn't already ride it this year. I sadly only got 1 ride on it, so I look forward to getting back on it next time I'm at America's Rock and Roller Coast. From one of the newest to one of the most intense, coming at number 9 is Superman Ultimate Flight at Six Flags Great America. It felt so refreshing to experience an actually good flying coaster. after having previously only ridden the awful hunk of steel Time Warp at my home park, Canada's Wonderland. I won't lie, getting into my seat and the trains tilting upward in the station made my stomach do flips, but that anxiety all went away as my friends and I went over to drop. Superman's pretzel loop takes the cake as the most crushing element on any of the coasters I've ridden. My organs and chest felt like they were caving inwards. I'm looking forward to riding more B&M flying coasters in the future, especially Tatsu, the gigantic installation at Six Flags Magic Mountain down in California. Staying at Six Flags Great America, but proceeding to the only coaster made fully out of wood on this list. At number 8, we have Goliath. Going in, I expected Goliath to be similar to the other RMC that I've ridden, which is higher up on this list. Although it didn't quite hit that mark, it still impressed me. Goliath has a drop that is practically unheard of on most other wooden coasters, followed by a solid amount of airtime and 2 inversions, including a stall that gives a sustained amount of hang time. I look forward to riding more high quality wooden coasters in the future so I can see how Goliath holds up compared to them. In the meantime, we'll now be starting our triple whammy of launch coasters, starting with Maverick at Cedar Point. Cedar Point's small yet mighty Intamin Blitz coaster packs a hard punch. In its compact layout standing less than 110 feet, Maverick features several aggressive turns, 2 launches, one of which blasts you out of a tunnel directly underneath the station, a couple inversions, and a beyond vertical drop. Last summer, during my return trip to Cedar Point, I got back row on Maverick, and man, is it ever the definitive way to experience this amazing coaster. The laterals and airtime are at their best in the last row. I also took my mom on it with me, and while it terrified her, she ended up loving it. As a result, I highly recommend taking your friends and family on Maverick, if they want to, of course. Moving on to the other new for 2025 coaster on this list, Alpenfury at Canada's Wonderland. Now, while I will say that Maverick has some more aggressive moments, Alpenfury in general is the more intense experience. It was so insane seeing this coaster get announced back in August of 2024 and slowly watching the land that it occupies get filled up. I was fortunate enough to ride Alpenfury the day after it opened and had my mind absolutely blown. The first launch has a good kick to it, but then before you know it, you accelerate at a high rate of speed out of Wonder Mountain and into a whopping 9 inversions that never cease to make my upper body get tossed around like a ragdoll. The layout blends so well together that it's hard to put my finger on just one standout element. Although I'd have to say some of my favorites include the second launch, some of the rolls in the latter half of the ride, and the large airtime hill you go over shortly before hitting the brake run. I still can't believe that my home park has an elite tier thrill ride such as Alpenfury, even 5.5 months after it opened, but I'm glad we got it. I'm so eager to get back on it for more rides, as one of my friends would say, in 2026. Now that we have gotten through spots 15 through 6, we'll be blasting into the top 5 with the fastest accelerating coaster in North America, Max Force, at Six Flags Great America. That launch really does kick your butt in so many ways. You're just sitting there, then BAM! All in a matter of less than 2 seconds, the train hits its top speed of 78 miles per hour and is blasted into its short but sweet layout containing 5 inversions. Max Force gets a lot of flack for being short, but to me, the duration almost doesn't matter to me when you've got that powerful launch. It definitely gave me a taste of what coasters like Top Thrill Dragster and King Dakar felt like. I highly recommend riding this in the front row, like I did. Continuing on to what very well could be the most polarizing coaster on this list, Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Sadly, I was unable to get back on the original Giga Coaster during my return trip to Cedar Point last summer, so it isn't as fresh in my memory as some of the other coasters on this list are. Here's hoping I have better luck next year if I go back. Millennium Force is definitely a coaster that, as the kids say, farms aura. It really has a presence at Cedar Point, since its layout spanning nearly 6,600 feet contains multiple high-speed turns, 2 large camelbacks, and a massive 300-foot drop. As I briefly touched on in last year's version of this video, Millennium Force has gained a reputation of being forceless. I couldn't possibly disagree more, but then again, the ride is supposed to be a showcase of heightened speed, not crushing positives that make you feel like you're under a hydraulic press. All in all, Millennium Force has stood the test of time as one of the most iconic roller coasters in the world for 25 years, and it certainly has a special place in the hearts of many, mine included. If you thought I was done talking about Giga Coasters, then you would be wrong, because the bronze medal holder is none other than my big blue baby Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. Yeah, it's probably my most controversial take that I have Leviathan over the relentless Alpine Fury. But what the hey, this ride holds a ton of personal value for me. Leviathan is my most ridden coaster. I was able to hit a little over 200 lifetime rides on it this season, and even if I have ridden it so many times, my enjoyment of B&M's original Giga Coaster has and never will cease. My current number one bucket list coaster is Leviathan's bigger sister down south, Fury 325 at Carowinds. Fingers crossed I can make it down to Carowinds sometime early next year. Even if Fury absolutely blows Leviathan out of the water, I still expect myself to love Canada's only Giga Coaster. The runner-up on this list is the dethroned, yet still great and mighty, Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Cedar Point's highly beloved RMC hybrid has unfortunately dropped a spot in my rankings this year, but I still absolutely adore it regardless. The layout is filled to the brim with multiple pops of ejector airtime, which helps in making this legendary ride absolutely bonkers. Having been on this since Alpine Fury opened, I can say that Steel Vengeance feels almost like an amplified version of it. On the inversions, particularly the roll going through the lift structure, I got tossed to the side more than I did on any of Alpine Fury's inversions. Sure, Leviathan never gets old, but neither does Steel Vengeance. Long live the King of RMC. As much as I loved getting back on Steel Vengeance last summer, there was just one coaster that I had more fun on at Cedar Point. And that coaster is none other than my new number one favorite coaster of all time, Top Thrill 2. Before I get into what I love about the tallest operating roller coaster in North America, let me give y'all a bit of background. Top Thrill Dragster, the ride's original incarnation, was among the first non-Wonderland roller coasters I learned about, and the concept of going that high up at that speed sounded so fascinating to me. Unfortunately, I had to wait a year and a half before I could experience the renovated version of the original Strata coaster. By the time I did get to Cedar Point in July of 2024, 2 months after Top Thrill 2 opened, it had gone down for the rest of the season to undergo extensive repairs, and I sadly missed out on it that visit. Fortunately, however, Top Thrill 2 reopened for the 2025 season and stayed open for a good majority of it. I had my expectations set high, and even then, they were still absolutely blown out of the water when I finally rode it during my return trip to Cedar Point last summer. Top Thrill 2's first launch is pretty good, but then the intensity amps up once you roll backwards partway up the top hat and into the second launch. On both the second and third launches, you feel yourself gaining speed. Plus, the spike and top hat give great, although brief, views of the park. Speaking of the top hat, the ascent and descent give off extremely powerful sustained floater airtime, and the spiral going down also provides really strong laterals. I rode Top Thrill 2 a grand total of 6 times, including 1 front row ride and 2 night rides, and all 6 of those rides proved to be the most enjoyable rides I've ever had on any roller coaster. I think Top Thrill 2 will always be near the top of my rankings and have its own special place in my heart. That's all for this video. Feel free to leave your top 15 favorite roller coasters in the comments, and while you're at it, make sure to like and subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. Peace out, everyone.